Is Gen Z just full of snowflakes? That's today's question, and it's a question I get often, and I love the question. The answer, of course, is yes, and I'll tell you why, but it's also not their fault. I get this question a lot from corporate. They're trying to figure out how to take care of the younger generation or to get them motivated, to get them engaged, to get them whatever. But you also have it in dinner conversations and everything else, get off my lawn type of conversations. Yes, Generation Z is full of snowflakes. I have plenty of examples that I could give, but it's not anymore. One, it's not their fault. Two, it's not any more than many other generations were snowflakes before them. We're taking a look at a transition of what generations mean. These kids, why it's not their fault, I'll start with. One, they're ill prepared. I speak a lot with colleges, putting together presentations for colleges or curriculums to get them ready for the real world. These students are not ready for the real world. And many professors will admit that because ideals haven't really met reality, and they go into the workplace and expect the workplace to be similar to university, and it's just not. It's just, it's just not really preparing people. So they're not really prepared in that type of sense. But also there are massive macro changes in technology. These people have grown up online, visibly there, Instagram reality, where they get their counsel, their advice, and their perspective is not where people in Gen X got their advice, counsel, and perspective. So they're not getting it in the same type of way. They're getting it from strangers. They're getting it from foreign places. And the people who present themselves as experts are kind of suspect in many cases as well. And so we haven't taught a generation how to think about these things or how to create a filter. It's because most of us, in the older generations weren't prepared to teach that, right? And that's just kind of how we go through this evolution. But also the reason they're jumping out of the labor market, and that's what brought this kind of conversation up, the reason I want to talk about it, Gen Z is falling out of the labor market, and they don't really know why, and I'll put the link to the article below. I think a lot of them go in the entrepreneur route, which I think is fantastic, and I think this is massively going to change the economy and the way that work goes in the future. Gen Z, most of them are living at home, which gives them flexibility to take more risk. And they're fed up. We hear about how they're fed up with the structure of the workplace, and they don't get the direction they need, and they don't get what they want out of the workplace. But they're also seeing, as part of that counsel that they get from Instagram and everything else, is that they can do it on their own. So there's an ownership aspect. It may be a little naive of what's possible, but there's an ownership aspect, and I really like to see that. So more to come on the generation. They are a little snowflakey, but it's just idealistic. And although I've had kids come to try to work for me and then find out, the job sounded too hard, so they didn't want to do it. So I don't know what that really means, where that's really going to shake out. But Gen Z, full of snowflakes, but that's okay. Give them some leniency. And I'm pretty net positive on what we're going to see out of Gen Z in the next decade to 20 years, because the world is going to catch up with them, and it should be interesting. So Gen Z falling out of the labor market, bunch of snowflakes, but that's okay. Talk to you soon.